Welcome into Southwestern Oklahoma State University. I'm John Little. Try to get us through this today, but we want it to be as long and commendable as possible as we honor three great new members of the Southwestern Athletics Hall of Fame. You'll hear from them in a little bit. Rachel Ingram Wolfrath, along with Melanie Folsom Miller, and of course, the late Paul Sharp being inducted as well today. It is a fantastic day, and please, a round of applause, a first round of applause for all our inductees. We'll hear more about them as we go on, but first of all, we want to turn our attention to the president of this university, Dr. Randy Butler. It is a great time to be a Bulldog, and he's going to tell you why.
Well, thank you, John, and it is. You know, think back with me for just a minute. You think about all the great student athletes that have been at this university, are at this university, and will be at this university. From the time that my grandmother went to school here and they played in leather helmets, like Doc Phillips, I got to kid him a little bit all the time. When they played in leather helmets right south of the old science field to our beautiful field out here today, from the time that they played with that uphill outfield to our great facility out north of here. And of course, from the time of when I went to school here and they had basketball in what we called the music building, and then to Rankin Williams into this great facility. And you think about the great strides that all of us had made here. There's no one person that makes Southwestern. It's all of us, whether you're a graduate from here, whether you're just a supporter that comes to the games, whether your grandmother, grandfather, whether your sons or daughters went here to this university. That is the source of pride that we have here, and we hope that we instill in our young student athletes to go out and succeed in the world, and succeed they do. We have a university that has 15 nationally accredited programs. That's more than any other regional universities. We have graduated people that have been and are CEOs of major companies. We've graduated people that walk the halls of Congress, our state legislature, and work in the White House. We have graduated people that are farmers, teachers, doctors, nurses, businessmen and businesswomen that add back to the future of Western Oklahoma. That's what this university is about. It's great to think upon our past, but Southwestern is always about our future. That's what we do here. That is our task. And it's a very ominous task, but it's a task that everyone in this room should enjoy and should be fully committed to. I thank you for being here. I thank you for your support. As we go through troubling financial times, it's even more important that you step up, help this university, but more than that, you help the future and turn out the great men and women that will lead this state and this country. Thank you for being here. I look forward to recognizing the great honorees that we have here today. They are great. They have added and continue to add to this institution that not only makes a great impact on this state, but on this country. Thank you.
Great to have everybody in attendance. And so that brings us to the reason that you are here, to induct three new fantastic members into the SWOSU Athletics Hall of Fame. And you can follow along with us, kind of reading the bios if you'd like to, and you'll see also the order in which we are going to induct these three today. So let's get started with Rachel Ingram Wolfrath. She was a four-year member of the SWOSU cross-country team, competing for the Bulldogs from 2004 to 2007, and in her time with the Bulldogs, she established herself as the best student athlete to compete for SWOSU cross-country. She set the fastest time in program history for both the 5,000 meter and the 6,000 meter race. A four-time All Lone Star Conference honoree who never finished lower than 6th at the LSC Championships. How about that? Wolfrath won 4 races in her career at SWOSU and advanced to the regional championships all 4 years that she ran as well. Also, in 2005, she finished 4th at the South Central Regional race, and she followed that up with a runner-up finish at the race in 2006, advancing to the NCAA Division II championships both seasons, and she remains the only runner in program history to race at the national meet. For her efforts, she was the 3-time All-South Central Region runner and a 3-time Lone Star Conference Academic Runner of the Year, and Wolfrath continues to hold the school record times of 18:06 in the 5K and 21:36 in the 6K. Is that good, runners? Is that pretty good? I'm not familiar as well as I need to be, but that's wonderful. Wolfrath, a 2-time SWOSU Female Athlete of the Year selection, and she was named to the ESPN The Magazine Academic All-America team in 2006, while also being nominated for the NCAA Woman of the Year by the Lone Star Conference in 2008. After completing her eligibility, Wolfrath continued success at SWOSU, earning her Doctor of Pharmacy degree in May of 2010. She then accepted a 1-year pharmacy practice residency at St. John's Mercy in her hometown of Springfield, Missouri, and she has since worked as a staff pharmacist at Lee Memorial Hospital in Fort Myers, Florida, and as a clinical staff pharmacist at University Hospital in Columbia, Missouri, where she currently resides. We are pleased to induct Rachel Ingram Wolfrath into the SWOSU Athletic Hall of Fame.
Thank you. It's great to be back at Southwestern and in Weatherford. It's been almost 6 years since I graduated, and even though many things have changed, driving into Weatherford yesterday felt like coming home. I will never forget the memories that I made running cross country here, and I will carry those memories with me for the rest of my life. I'll never forget the first time that I visited Southwestern. My mom's sister and I drove from Missouri over the summer before my senior year in high school to visit this small town in western Oklahoma. I remember that we stayed at the Best Western Mark Motel, and we walked over to Walmart, which is now Ace Hardware, to pick up a few things. Whenever we walked in, the weather was great, and we walked out into the beginnings of a big thunderstorm. It felt like a tornado was going to pop out of the sky at any minute, and the wind was blowing like crazy, and we ran back to the motel. And it was quite a welcome into western Oklahoma. During our visit, it seemed like everything just clicked, and I knew that I wanted to study pharmacy and run cross country at SWOSU. I have so many wonderful memories of my years running cross country. I had the opportunity to have 2 amazing coaches, Melanie Miller and Josh Music, who each traveled with me to a national championship. The first time I ever flew on a plane was with Melanie on our way to California for nationals my sophomore year. And then the following year, Josh and I flew to Pensacola Beach, Florida for the second national championship run. What amazing memories I have from running around this town and all the country roads, running by the wind turbines, up and down the Davis Hill, sometimes wearing a weighted vest. And Josh used to drop us off in hydro and with a see you on campus and had us run back here. Not to mention all the memories of Weatherford, from hanging out at the Cup, getting ice cream from Brahms, and shopping at the Etc. shop. Since graduating from Southwestern, my life has changed in many wonderful ways. I have met and married my husband, David, who also loves to run. It has been so much fun to show him the campus and the town of Weatherford during this trip. We have a 2-year-old son, Isaac, who also loves to run. He already knows how to set up and say, ready, set, go, and take off. And so hopefully he will love running as much as we do. I want to thank this school and this town for welcoming me with open arms. Sorry. I could not speak higher of the people that make up this university. My coaches, Melanie and Josh, were the key to my success. And I want to thank them for always pushing me harder. I want to thank the Albrightson family, Courtney and Cindy, who were my host family and gave me a home away from home during my time here. My sister Sandra, who wasn't able to make it, was always there cheering me on and supporting me throughout my running career. My parents, Mark and Teresa, have been my biggest fans my whole life. From the time I started running as a small girl, they have never let me settle for less than my best. They were always there to bike alongside me on long runs and drive me to and from endless practices and meets. And during my time at SWOSU, they traveled all across the Midwest and the country to cheer me on. On the cross-country course, during the toughest parts of the race, they were always there to push me. Sometimes all my mom could say was, "Rachel, Rachel, Rachel," because she was so excited. And that would always give me the strength to push it up one more hill. Lastly, I could never believe that these achievements could mean anything apart from Christ. And I thank God for all the undeserved blessings in my life and for giving me the ability to run cross country. And I will never take for granted the opportunities that I have been given. And I thank you all from the bottom of my heart for this honor.
We move on to her coach, but Melanie Folsom Miller was even more than a cross-country coach here at SWOSU. Let's read along. Melanie Folsom Miller, a 2-year member of the SWOSU women's golf team. She competed for the Lady Bulldogs from 1996 to 1998, and after beginning her career and playing for 2 seasons at Wichita State, Miller transferred to SWOSU in the fall of '95. She was a member of the inaugural women's golf team at Southwestern under head coach Cecil Perkins. Her team won 3 tournament championships in 1997 and had 6 other top 5 finishes in her 2-year stint. Both seasons concluded at the NAIA National Championship Tournament. In '97, the Lady Bulldogs finished in 5th place at the NAIA Championships. Miller finished tied for 10th place, but wait till you hear about '98. The '98 squad, national runners-up, and Miller took 3rd as an individual in 1998 at the national championships, a 2-day stroke total of 149. And again, I ask, is that pretty good? That's pretty good on just 18 holes for me. Still a SWOSU postseason record. She's a native of Tahlequah. Miller earned her bachelor's degree in recreation leadership with a minor in geography from SWOSU in 1998 before continuing on to receive a master's in early childhood development in 2000. And during the 2000 season, she served as a graduate assistant for the SWOSU women's golf team, later serving as the Bulldogs cross-country coach from 2004 to 2006. Miller resides in Weatherford and is an active member of the campus community. She works in the Department of Admissions and Recruitment. Please give a warm welcome to Melanie Folsom Miller, the newest member of the SWOSU Athletic Hall of Fame.
This is any indication, ladies. Okay, thank you very much for this wonderful honor. I would like to quickly introduce my table here. I have my parents, Judy and Jim, my in-laws, Gary and Janice, my daughters, Hannah and Mallory, my very handsome nephew, he's single, Folsom, my sister, Christine, her fiance, Thor, and of course my husband, Scott. My mom, awesome. We get the warm-up music. Yes. Okay, my mom always told me my ability to play golf was a gift from God, and I wholeheartedly believe this. I think God put many people in my path through this journey. I'd like to just mention a few of them. Wade May was my first golf coach when my dad was stationed in Georgia, and as a young girl, I remember him telling me that my grip could be on a cover of a magazine, and that did wonders for my confidence. Walter Hopper afforded me the opportunity to work at Pryor Golf Course during my high school years, and many opportunities to play this game that I love and to learn so much about it. Marcia Ivins led the crusade to establish a girls' golf team at Tahlequah High School my junior and senior year, and it was a great honor to play for her. Begrudgingly, I include Kathy Stevens as a part of my journey. Unknowingly, Kathy was my golf coach at Wichita State, and unknowingly, she taught me to believe in my swing and my skill, to trust that I knew best how to play my game my way and not hers. Needless to say, Kathy and I did not get along very well, but our partying is what led me here to Southwestern. I'm not sure Cecil Perkins knew what he was getting into when he started the women's golf team here. And I'm sure he asked himself that many nights. We could spend hours talking about him. I enjoyed my relationship with Cecil. I got to experience him not only as my coach, but also as an employer here. We were two very hard-headed people with lots of differing opinions, and there are many stories I could tell about him, but we don't have all day. But it was my honor to play for Cecil and represent Southwestern. Okay, here we go. The next person that probably doesn't know they were part of this journey with me, but she was my sister Christine. I had this notepad that I'd asked family members to put encouraging words in and lots of things. But I would be out on the golf course, and I would often take this out just to get a boost of inspiration or something, and I'd always come to her page. And the two things that stood out to me was at the very top, she put, "I'm woman, hear me roar." And the other one was by Maya Angelou, quote, "You make me proud to spell my name, W-O-M-A-N." These words resonated through me and often spurred me on to work harder. And I got this out the other day, and I found a really cute picture of Scott when he was younger. Oh. Minus the beard. Which brings me to my husband. We met here in 1997, and he has been a part of my life for almost the last 19 years. In fact, it'll be 19 years on April Fool's Day, so it tells you a lot. We've been married just over 15 years and have two of the most amazing children, Hannah and Melanie. Scott was definitely a part of my journey here at Southwestern. His support and love helped me to be the best I could be. Now, he'd like to tell you that he taught me everything I knew about golf. But I think I taught him a few things, didn't I? Mm-hmm. Okay, my parents. I can fully appreciate what they went through having two girls that play soccer and basketball and volleyball throughout the week and on weekends. I can fully appreciate what my parents went through with me. It was very easy for me. I made sure my golf bag was ready. I knew what I was going to wear the next day for a tournament. I went to bed, I got up, I'd get in the car and fall back to sleep for the ride to the tournament. And then I just got out of the car and played the best game ever. But without their love and support, today would not be a reality. My dad took me out to hit my first golf ball when I was 11 years old. We were stationed in Hawaii, and I was hooked from then on. I love the game of golf. I feel like there's no better game out there, and I thank both of my parents for believing me and being my biggest fans. Lastly, I'd like to thank my father-in-law, Gary. Gary enjoyed signing us up for four-man scrambles and whatnot and putting my name down as Mel Folsom, hoping everybody else would think that there's just some other guy coming with him. And then I'd show up and I'd get to hit from the red tees. So we had many good times doing that. So David Poole was our graduate assistant, and I thank him, and so is Jason Hughes. I don't remember which year you guys were, but you were both out there. Kelly Litch was often our stand-in coach on many tournaments. She took us to Florida, and I'm sure you had lots of fun with us. One story real quick about Kelly that I don't know that I remember very clearly at Nationals in Tulsa. She would ask us, where do you want me to be out on the golf course? And we'd always tell her, just be at a par 3, let us know what everybody's hitting, how everybody's doing, whatnot. And I can remember some par 3, and Cecil always put me third to play, and it always irritated me that he did that, but made me play better. But Kelly was at this par 3, and I come in, and I remember her looking at me just saying, I think you need to hit your 6-iron. And I said, okay. And so I did, and I don't know if you remember, but I hit it about 2 inches from the hole. And I was like, good choice. So, and of course my teammates, and Rachel Preble-Poole, we played on the same team together, and there's Kayla and Christina and Jill, Jamie, Lindsay, and everyone else. I can't remember their names right now, but I think we had a blast. I could not have asked for a better experience. I'd like to congratulate Rachel on her induction. I was her coach for 2 years, and I really do wish I could tell her that I taught her everything she knew, but quite honestly, I cannot stand running. I do not like it, but it was amazing to watch her, and it was a joy to coach her. And when you talked about your mom yelling Rachel, I remember that too. I remember her, Rachel, Rachel. Yeah, it was awesome. And to Coach Sharp's family, my sincerest condolences to your family. I remember, I believe I had Coach Sharp for maybe 2 classes here, and I remember him being just the nicest and kindest man. I did not know him well, but I always heard the best things about him, so congratulations. I'd like to end this again by thanking you all for this fantastic honor. It is humbling and a bit surreal. All I ever wanted to do was be on a golf course playing the best game ever. Every day I was on a course was the greatest day. I love Southwestern. I love that I'm back on campus. I bleed blue. This is my forever home. I'm honored to be a Bulldog, and it's a great day to be a Bulldog. So, go Dogs.
A couple things that are contagious, yawning and crying, at least for me. It's wonderful. Thank you so much. That brings us to Paul Sharp. And this is most certainly, I know, going to be a tough one, but we're just lifting each other up today because, honoring a great man, and I know there are many, many people in this room that wouldn't be here if not for Paul Sharp. So let's talk about it. Paul Sharp, the winningest coach in SWOSU football history. He led the Bulldogs to 93 victories in 19 seasons from 86 to 2004. And Sharp helped the Bulldogs to 8 winning seasons, 2 Oklahoma Intercollegiate Conference championships, and 1 Lone Star North Divisional Championship crown. He coached SWOSU in 4 postseason games, more than any other coach in program history, including the 91 Aztec Bowl in Mexico City against a team of Mexico All-Stars, and he guided 15 players who reached All-American status for the Bulldogs. His 92 team finished the regular season ranked number 1 in the NAIA and earned SWOSU's first trip to the NAIA playoffs since 1977. That earned him OIC Coach of the Year honors. The banner season, though, of Sharp's career came in '96. He helped the Bulldogs overcome a team tragedy on their way to the national championship, the first national championship in program history. SWOSU's top receiver and team leader Alvin Milton was killed along with 3 other student athletes in a car wreck during the season. But the grieving Bulldogs rallied to win their final 5 games and win the 1996 NAIA National Championship, a 33-31 victory over Montana Tech right out here behind us. It was December 7th at Milam Stadium. For his efforts, Sharp was named the NAIA National Coach of the Year in 1996 by the AFCA. He previously served as the president of the NAIA Coaches Association from 93 to 94 and was a member of the AFCA and Oklahoma Coaches Association throughout his career. Sharp came to SWOSU from Lamar University, where he was the defensive coordinator from 1983 to 1985. After starting his career as an assistant coach at the University of Central Arkansas and Ouachita Baptist, his alma mater, he earned 2 degrees from Ouachita, receiving a Bachelor's of Science in 1975 and a Master of Science in Education in 1977. Paul Sharp is inducted into the SWOSU Athletics Hall of Fame posthumously, having passed away in October of 2012. And in 2013, the Great American Conference rivalry between SWOSU and Ouachita Baptist became known as the Paul Sharp Cup in honor of the former Bulldogs head coach and OBU alum. And that same year, SWOSU dedicated the renovated Paul Sharp locker room, which houses the team inside Rankin Williams Fieldhouse. We are honored to induct Paul Sharp into the SWOSU Athletics Hall of Fame. And here to give his speech is Sherry Sharp.
First of all, let me say congratulations to Rachel and Melanie, and I am so grateful that they brought their Kleenex and gave me the freedom to use mine, so congratulations. Thank you, President Butler, Coach Thurman, the Hall of Fame committee, Bulldog players, and all of the wonderful alumni of this great university. Words just simply cannot express the depth of gratitude that our family feels for Paul's induction into this prestigious group. It's hard to believe that 30 years ago we were fortunate enough to become a part of the Southwestern family and of the Weatherford community. It's even harder to believe that 3.5 years ago we unexpectedly lost Paul in the prime of his life. He would have been so very humbled today if he were here. He would first want to express his appreciation to Dr. Leonard Campbell and to Cecil Perkins for taking a chance on a young 33-year-old with no head coaching experience. Patty, as you know, Cecil became Paul's confidant, his mentor, and his surrogate father. He loved you and Cecil. What a special relationship we all enjoyed, so many fun times. And I'm grateful today that our friendship is as sweet as ever. He would want everyone to know that he worked with the best staff and colleagues and that any success the Bulldogs had was a team effort. Todd Helton, he was so very proud of you, thought of you like a son, and admired your loyalty to this university. I would say that as a member of his first recruiting class and still here today in your current position, he chose very well. Rocky Powell, what would the team do without your enthusiasm, passion, and those East Central games where our guys not only played for a victory, but the chance to see you eat the East Central worm? George Hauser, Larry Gherking, Vicki Hatton, Ken Rose, Chuck Edwards, and many others added to his complete enjoyment of work. I must tell you, though, however, that George and Paul officed right next door to each other for 20 years. Our sons Adam and Aaron spent lots of time at the office with their dad. And I'm sure that Coach Hauser got a little annoyed having the little munchkins underfoot a lot. So when their paper airplane accidentally flew into Coach Hauser's office, he promptly lit it on fire and sent it back in the hallway. You probably didn't realize that by lighting that one paper airplane, these boys would be sending a fleet of airplanes into your office. Paul would want to say thank you for each of the players on his team for the last 19 seasons. And there's several of you today, and it would just honor me if I could get you to all to stand as his players, their coaches. Thank you for being here. What great men we had on our teams. Paul and I both enjoyed Thursday game night at our house with the seniors every year. And those nights, as you would expect, were very competitive because the winners got to miss Friday morning breakfast check. For the players here, you will remember your help sessions. That helped you learn what you shouldn't have done. Or as you heard Coach Sharp say, help me help you remember what not to do. You will also remember that sometimes Paul's rules were tough. You will remember freshman talent shows. Some of the things there we probably can't talk about here, okay? You will remember those fun and exciting games and road trips. But most of all, I hope that you remember how loved you were by both Paul and me. Of course, the national championship season was an amazing icing on the cake year. No one will forget Alvin Milton catching the go-ahead touchdown pass with 1 minute and 29 seconds left in the regular season game to put us in the playoffs. And no one will forget Jeff Steindorf's amazing punt that led to the go-ahead safety to win the championship game. No one will forget the triumphs and tragedies of that year that made us closer and bonded us forever. It's hard to believe that this year we celebrate the 20th anniversary of that special year. But you know, there were other successes, including the conference championships and a trip to Mexico City to play in the Aztec Bowl. You know, I don't know about you all that were there, but I will never forget taking off in a plane in a thunderstorm in the plane that the Mexican government provided. There was so much turbulence that we thought we would surely die. Is that right, Patty? Okay. Yes. Okay. I was just going to say, and I have never been on a flight since where every single passenger got sick and the bathrooms declared off limits. It was bad, okay? But we did have a great time once we got there. You know, we had so many wonderful memories here, just far too many to share at this time. And then Coach Kokenauer. He would want to congratulate you on being named Coach of the Year. And I personally want to thank you again for being the kind of man you are. There aren't many coaches who would take off on a Monday in the middle of a season, drive a total of 12 hours with your staff to attend a funeral. Southwestern is so fortunate to have you at the helm. Paul would have wanted to thank our friends for your unwavering support. We are absolutely so blessed to have made lifelong friends in this community. You have been wonderful along the journey, both the highs and the lows. You sat in rainstorms and in 40-mile-an-hour winds. You went to away games. You celebrated and you consoled. And you are here today. And I only wish I was half as good a friend as you all have been to us over all these years. He would want everyone to know that his family was the joy of his life. Aaron, Adam, Tiffany, and our other daughter-in-law, Julie, who had an emergency appendectomy yesterday. He would want you to know how much he loved you, and that while this is a great honor, his greatest accomplishment was being a good dad for you. And David, few brothers have the special close relationship the two of you shared. I know that you discussed every play, every down, every game of both of your careers. And finally, he would want everyone to know that not only is he so grateful to be inducted into this magnificent Hall of Fame, but he is also thankful to now walk among other believers listed in the Hebrews Hall of Faith. Please know that the Sharp family will always love Southwestern, and we will forever sing our praises to the white and blue. Thank you for this humbling honor.
Without further ado, I'll let you get to the basketball games, but thank you for being here. What a wonderful presentation. Go Dogs.